that, and I'm going to show you how to do the week 5 updated on Alex. So please find that, pause the video until you find it. Week 5 review updated, and it is over domain and range. All right, so this is not what I wanted. I wanted to click on preview. All right, so this is about domain and range. It's actually over here. Okay, I'm going to click start. I found it now. So if you have some paper with you, please write a couple things down. Let me start on one that I wanted to show you first. I will go through those. Okay. Not sure. Okay, there we go. All right, so what I'm going to have you do me a favor. Pedro, can you close the door, please? So, in case somebody walks in. Christopher. All right, so what I want you to write down is domain. Somewhere on a piece of paper is domain are all the X values. Please write that down somewhere. The other thing I want you to write down is range are all the Y values. Please write that down somewhere. Okay, so when you do domain, for domain is the X axis. Here are the X numbers. Here are the X axis. All right, so what you're going to do is this is domain right here. This is domain. So for domain, I always tell students to look here. This is the X axis right there. So what you're going to do is you're going to always pay attention to these numbers right here. Okay? And what I did, I'm not sure why they deleted, but you want to look right here. This is where it starts. This is where it ends. This is the blue. This is the graph, the blue one. So we have a starting point here. We have an end point here. And what we're going to do is we're going to pay attention to these numbers because they're on the X. I like to draw the vertical line so I can pay attention to these numbers on the X axis because domain is X. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click where it says domain, and I'm going to type in. Now, whenever I have a start and an end, the way I write my domain is like this. X goes in the middle. Inequalities less than go on both sides. Now, it's usually closed. The only times it's an open looks like this. Okay? Open looks like this one, or it could look like this one. When's an open? When it has an obvious open circle. Can you write that down, please, if you're in class with me? If you're not in class with me, please write that down. Please write this down. Please write this down somewhere. I've got paper here in the front. If you're watching this, please write this down. Now, it's closed. What I want you to think it's closed every other time except these. Oh, the other time it's open is when you have an arrow. That means that it's infinity. It keeps going. It doesn't stop. Okay, so normally all the other times it's closed. So what I want you to think so you don't get confused is it's always closed except for these two times. One, when you have a big obvious open circle, or two, when you have an arrow, and that means it keeps going. All the other times it's closed. Okay? So please write that down. Pause it so you can write this down. Did you write it down? Nadia, you wrote it down? Oscar, did everybody else here wrote it down? Yes. Thank you. Now, let's talk about domain and range. So when I do this, because it has a start and an end, I'm going to do domain first. And I'm going to click this one right here because it's less than. I'm going to click it twice because I'm going to write where it starts, where it ends. In the middle, I put X. Why X? Because X is domain. That's something you have to memorize. All right, the domain, this first number here, this first point, I go from left to right, just like when you read a sentence, find the domain and range. So left to right. That number on the left is 60. The number on the right over here is 90. I'm just writing where it starts, where it ends. Now, This is not correct. Why is 60 not correct? Tell me why is 60 not correct? This point right here, the 60 is the y value. I'm looking at these numbers, the ones I circled. It should have been 0. That's what it should be. It should not be. I did that to see who would catch the mistake. It's not supposed to be 60. People do that. And I want to show you why that was wrong. So what you're going to do is, again, you're looking at the y. You're looking for domain. You're looking at the x values. These here are the x values. 60 is a y value. I'm going to use that for my range. Range is all the y values. So right here, I like to draw lines like this so I can see this is where it starts, this is where it ends. For domain, you go from left to right. Let me write that down so you can write that down too. Okay, maybe not. Domain goes from left to right. Range goes from down to up. Why? Because that's how we're going from small to big. I wish I could move this, but oh, maybe I click this one. Maybe not. Maybe not at all. So domain, but I can maybe add to it. Yeah. So domain goes from left to right, and range goes from down to up. Okay. So I start down here at the bottom. Why we do that is because it goes from less to big. From smaller, you start down here, 0, all the way 300. That's why you have to start low. So for the domain, I'm looking at these numbers now, 60 and 150. That's for the range. Why is that for the range? Because range is y. Range is y. Range is y. This is the range, the one standing up, the y values. X is the one laying down for domain. All right, so right here, I'm going to click here. I'm going to click it twice. This time, I'm going to put y in the middle because that's range. And the two numbers going from small to big would be 60 to 150. Notice they're both closed. That's why I left it like that. I'm in 1243 if this doesn't make sense to you, and I'm going to do another example. So, did everybody here in class copy this so I can move to the next one? Okay. All right, so now I'm going to clear it. What does that do? No. Clear ink. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to the next one. Let's go back to some of these. So same information. Domain is still all the x values. Range is still all the y values. When it's closed, this erased, but you have the little bar underneath it. When it's open, it's going to be a big, obvious open circle, or you're going to have some arrows. Now, here, this one's really important because they ask some form of this on the STAAR test every year. So, for the domain, if I were to do the same thing I did before, bless you, and I were to draw the vertical lines right here to see what the x's are, it kind of looks like it's 3 and -3, but it's not. Why? Because you have two arrows. That means this line keeps going. This line keeps going over here and over here and over here and over here, and it keeps going on forever. This line over here and over here and over here and here forever. That means it's all the numbers. So when you have two arrows like this, you know that your domain has to be, it's going to be 3 words on the STAAR test. Here it just says all reals, but it's all real numbers. Okay, when you don't have all the numbers, it's from -infinity to +infinity. You have these two arrows. You need to remember that's all real numbers. Now, for the range is a little bit different. The range goes like this. So, for the range, if you point down like this, that means your y values are smaller. So when you point down, you're going to use less than. When it points up, your y values are going to be greater. So you're going to do like this. Now, It's usually closed. They usually don't put an open dot right there. So then you put in whatever number it goes through. Let me show you an example. It might make more sense. So again, when it points down, it's going to be less than. Less than is your left hand. L for less than, L for left. This one points up, and so you're going to use the up. Now, over here, this one is pointing down, so because it's pointing down, I'm going to always put Y for range. Down is this one actually even says less than. It's closed, so you're going to use this one for down, less your left hand. Now, what number does it go through right there? What's that highest number? The maximum also is a 3, so it's Y less than 3. Okay? You will see this for sure on your STAAR test. All right, I'm going to end the video here if I can figure that out. And again, I am in room 1243 if you need more help. Okay, that did not end the video.